Why did the palace yank the timetable with almost no notice? And how on earth do you slide an entire state welcome forward by 24 hours without breaking a single seam? Pull up a chair. Tonight we're stepping behind the green baize door while Windsor resets the clock. If you love smart, insider royal coverage, zero fluff, maximum detail, tap like and subscribe. This is your front row seat to living history. First came the tell. Not a leak. A law. The palace dropped a slick clip from the royal muse, harness gleaming, wheels humming, Windsor greys standing like statues, and asked, "Ever wondered how we prepare to welcome a head of state?" Translation: the heavy cavalry of tradition is rolling out. When the muse steps into the light, the monarchy is about to move at full power. Let's decode what ready means here, because it isn't horses saddled, coach rolled. It's ritual turned engineering. Harness is taken down piece by piece, stitched, burnished, checked again. Wheels are trued, axles greased, lamps polished until they throw light. Tack is fitted to the very animals that have rehearsed the turns in silence, learning to ignore flags, phones and that sudden cheer that rattles the air. Humans sink to hooves and hubs. Every 5 seconds of procession is timed, drilled, signed off. Miss a beat, and the whole picture loses its music. Now at the stage, Windsor Castle. The quadrangle is a painter's trick made real, battlements framing a courtyard where the guard of honor draws a perfect line, the band holds its breath, and carriages cut across the stone like a pen stroke on vellum. Thousands of arrivals have washed over these flags and slabs. Each one must feel as if it has been happening, unbroken, for 1,000 years. Originally, the plan was crisp: arrive on the 17th, depart on the 19th. Then a call from the visiting side, and everything shifts a square to the left, wheels up a day earlier. Arrival now on the 16th, paper change. Hardly. This is an orchestral retuning with the audience already seated. Here's what moves when the palace moves a line. Security web, motorcade routes remapped, police and military shifts rekeyed, airspace windows renegotiated, convoy timings resequenced down to the minute. Some of you remember the Reagan visit, you know the dance. Aviation, landing slots pulled forward, crews recrewed, stand assignments shuffled, NOTAMs refreshed. Protocol, precedents checked, seating plans re-inked, place cards repenned in copperplate. The order of introductions tweaked so no one of consequence finds themselves in the wrong handshake at the wrong second. Catering, menus reconfirmed, deliveries accelerated, cellars opened a night early, silver counted out, glass polished, counted back in. Wardrobe and livery, number 1 dress lifted from stores a day sooner, braid pressed, buttons buffed, medals and orders laid out in boxes with names you'll never see, but tailors never forget. The Muse, pacing charts rewritten, Windsor Greys and Cleveland Bays exercised again on the altered timetable, farriers and vets consulted so hooves, hearts and nerves are perfect on the day. And let's be plain, you won't see any of it. That's the point. Your eyes will catch the sparkle, the work will be invisible. Why Windsor? Why carriages? Because pageantry is a language, and Windsor is the crown's clearest sentence. Carriages are diplomacy in gold and glass, formal, visible, legible at 200 yards and on every home television. Choose a semi-state landau for air and visibility. Keep the gold state coach in its shrine for the truly sacred. Let the household cavalry steady the horizon. Let the state trumpeters stitch brass into the sky. The message is classic and modern at once. Britain can host at scale without losing its manners. Now, about that 24-hour jump. What forces a palace that plans in quarter inches and quarter hours to throw the lever? 3 usual suspects. Guest diary compression, yes. Even heads of state collide with prime ministerial schedules and security windows. Security intelligence, if risk ratings change, the safest hour wins. Aviation, weather logistics, arrival slots, crosswinds, and the simple truth that planes do not argue with air. Whatever the trigger, the reply must be the same, flex without a flicker. The palace signals courtesy to the guest and confidence to the country. We can absorb the hit and present the full measure of ceremony, on a new clock, with a smile. If you want the real goosebumps, look away from the balcony and watch the hands. The saddler in a back room, rubbing life into 19th century leather so it shines like new coin. The conservator guarding upholstery older than most nations. The seamstress taking a last thread from a cuff, because the camera will see it if she doesn't. The bandmaster tapping a stand, so the first bar strikes exactly as carriage wheels kiss the quadrangle. The planner, who can tell you how long a four-in-hand needs to crest a slight incline in a light tailwind. The calligrapher finishing a name card that will blanch if a drop of water lands on it. So it will not. Outside the walls, another braid tightens. Thames Valley Police, royalty and specialist protection, military aides-de-camp, RAF slots, local authorities, everyone pulled forward and told, politely, we're going at T-24. In the small hours, vans hum, radios murmur, and one late delivery is chased across 3 postcodes, so your eye will never know it was nearly missing. There's method in the modernity, too. Those behind-the-scenes clips aren't fluff, they're consent. The palace learned during the late Queen's reign that if you show the craft, the country embraces the cost. Viewers from Boston to Berwick understand a showcase when they see one. This is Britain at its best. Grace built on training, shine built on checks, warmth built on the cold work of planning. And make no mistake, a state welcome is not a costume party. It's an instrument. The band on the lawn says, we're glad you're here. The wreath at the chapel says, we remember the people who made this possible. The Royal Collection viewing says, we share a story. The state banquet says, we can do business. Every step is diplomacy, scored for horses, brass and silver. Want to know what it feels like inside the machine on the day? Horses exercised at first light, vets walk the lines, tails are combed until they shine like silk. Drivers briefed to the second, stop lines marked in chalk you'll never see. Footmen drilled so the hand on the door arrives at precisely the moment the coach settles. The quadrangle swept, flags tested, microphones hidden in plain sight. The Lord Chamberlain's office runs a final tick list. Somewhere a young equerry is counting beats under his breath. And behind an unremarkable door, a tray of spare gloves, spare pins, spare cents, because the best planners fear the small thing that wasn't on the list. Why does any of this matter to those of us who remember earlier state visits, earlier reigns? Because tradition is only alive when it can bend without breaking. The late Queen taught the institution to make the difficult look easy. This king has taught it to show just enough of the gears that we admire the glide. A one-day shift is a test. Passing it, calmly, is the point. When the carriages round the corner and the first bars climb the stone, you'll see the visible half of an invisible craft. A nation welcoming a guest, yes, but also a system turning logistics into ceremony and ceremony into meaning. The public will see Polish. Those of us who watched the checklist move will see pride. If this pullback of the curtain hit the spot, tell us below. Do you want a full episode just on the Royal Muse, its history, its horses, the people who keep leather and legend alive? Smash like so this reaches more royal watchers 50+ who appreciate the craft. Subscribe for steady, grown-up coverage, and tap the bell. Next up, the seating plan secrets of a state banquet, and how a single place card can avert a diplomatic chill.